Hi there, welcome back. Very good morning to you. Now, we have had a huge response from you to the story of Susie and her son Bruno, who've been forced to sleep in a tent because their former tenant will not leave their house.
Susie had rented out the house while she carried out charity work abroad, and her nightmare started when she returned home.
Well, our correspondent Nick Dixon broke the story and has been back to follow developments.
Yeah, the tent's still here, but we're actually not in it anymore. We've got a friend's mum's flat, and we're allowed to stay there for up to a month, so yeah, very good.
Since Susie told me her story, the support for her and her son has been overwhelming.
Since GMTV this morning, since we're on TV, we've just had over 200 emails, texts and calls from friends, family and random strangers from everywhere across the world, including Australia, the States and Canada, offering us places to stay, just saying they're fully behind us and anything they can do, they're there for us.
She may not be welcome in her own home, but Susie's neighbours are very pleased to see her.
It's just your worst nightmare, isn't it? You come back, she does charity work, you come back and you can't get in your house. And I can't believe as well another mother would do that.
There's a real community feel in the street. Everybody knows everybody else and tries to support. It's pretty much a shock.
It's touched the chord with everybody really, in terms of it's just, I think, at heart, a very simple issue about fairness and the right thing.
Thank you.
Carmen Nobre, the woman living in her home, declined to speak to GMTV about allegations from a local letting agent who told me that she's been evicted from a previous property owing more than £8,500 in rent arrears.
For Susie, that eviction can't come soon enough.
When Susie's story appears on the evening news, it's painful viewing for her. Despite all the support, the legal process to get back home could still take months.
Every time I see her, every time I see the house, every time I walk past my home, it just boils up inside me, and I still can't really believe the situation that we're in. It's just like a nightmare, really.
Her friends have set up a Facebook group to build up support for her legal battle, and in the meantime, she's at least out of the tent and staying with friends.
Nick Dixon, the reporter there, joined now by property barrister Philip Rainey, QC. I know you can't talk about individual cases, Philip, but in general terms, what can the homeowner do, or what are the options open to the homeowner in circumstances like this?
Well, the homeowner is entitled to go to the county court and to get a possession order, which will require the tenant to leave, and if the tenant doesn't get out in accordance with the order, then the bailiffs can be sent in to remove the tenant.
But how long does all that take, normally?
Well, if it's a private sector tenancy and it's an assured short hold and the right notice has been given to the tenant, then there's an accelerated procedure. It's done on paper. It should go in front of a judge within 14 days and the possession order should issue after that.
What if the tenant hasn't paid the rent on an agreement previously struck?
That's really a question for references, I think. Everybody would be well advised to take up references on previous tenants because the previous landlord is the person to tell you whether the tenant has been a bad payer in the past.
As you know, Philip, we've had so many emails, such a huge response to this story. People were very, very upset about it. And people saying, you know, why can't you just get the police in? Why can't you turn the electricity off or, you know, turn up the council tax down, that kind of thing, and get this tenant out? Why can't they do that?
Well, the one thing I would say is you must not do that. That's quite a serious criminal offence. It's Section 1 of the Protection from Eviction Act.
Even though it's your house?
Even though it's your house, it is illegal to harass a tenant. It's illegal to make it uncomfortable. You can't cut off the electricity. You can't change the locks. The maximum is actually 6 months in prison or a £5,000 fine.
Why would a tenant want to be evicted, as some seem to do in these circumstances?
Well, it's possible. If a tenant's fallen on hard times, they may not have anywhere else to go. I mean, let's not forget, it could be the tenant's home. It could be their only home. A lot of people in this country can't afford to buy their own house. They may have nowhere else to go.
But if they're evicted, they get rehoused? Probably.
Well, some local authorities do want to see a possession order before they will accept tenants as being homeless.
Do you think the law's fair? Do you think the law is fairly balanced between the rights of the tenant and the rights of a landlord?
Well, all that the tenant actually has is the right to stay for 6 months, the right to have the proper notice and the right to a court order. And if it is the tenant's home and it's a landlord's buy-to-let property, then you may think that the balance isn't too bad. Well,
on the other hand, you may think that the law seems to favour the person who's in the wrong rather than the person who's got basic right on their side.
Well, I suppose you could say that the delays in the court system aren't good, but on the other hand, tenants do need the protection of court orders, because in the past, as I'm sure we all remember, there have been some very bad landlords and some tenants are treated very badly, and the law has to be there to protect them as well as to protect landlords against bad tenants. So we're just trying to strike a balance, and it'll never be perfect, I'm afraid.
Philip, thanks very much indeed for your expertise.
OK, the time is 19 minutes past 7 this Thursday morning. Now, how would you like an extra £25,000 in your bank account? Sounds good, doesn't it?
Does indeed.
As well as winning an exciting luxury hamper. This week's competition, it could be yours. Here are the details.